It's Leah, and I want to talk to you about the G-spot for a second. Most people have heard of it. Very few have ever touched it with genuine skill. And even fewer know that it isn't actually one thing, it's two. The G-spot is the spongy tissue you can feel through the front wall of the vagina. But in tantric tradition, there's a second area, deeper, more powerful, called the sacred spot. This is where old tension lives in the body, where unexpressed emotions get stored. And when it's touched with real skill and the right kind of presence, it can unlock profound pleasure and something that feels like relief at a cellular level. Here's what most people don't know. The male body has a sacred spot too. In Tantra, it's called the sacred gate, and almost no one is teaching it. This July, Guy Shahar and I are changing that. Sacred Spot Massage Weekend is a 3-day hands-on immersive program at the Tantra Loft in New York City, July 17th, 18th, and 19th. Over the course of the weekend, you and your partner will learn the full art of tantric sacred spot massage for both bodies, the anatomy, the emotional landscape, the hands-on technique, and you will practice it together in a held sacred space with Guy and I guiding every step. This is not a lecture. This is an embodied learning, real skill you could take home and use for the rest of your relationship. Oh, and by the way, it's not just for couples. You can attend as a single too. We've got a few spots still open and we expect to sell out. To register, go to tantrany.com/Sex Reimagined. That link is just for our listeners. Again, tantrany.com/Sex Reimagined. We will see you in New York.
Hey everyone, it's the Sex Reimagined Podcast. I'm Dr. Willow Brown. I'm here with the one and only Leah Piper. And we're going to be talking about chakras today because, sometimes you see people who are walking around and they're in their radiance and they have no problem in being in their sensuality and they're just very magnetic. And you might wonder why and how do they do that? And the answer is probably in their chakras. So we're going to talk about how these incredible energy centers in your bodies, also known as chakras, can shape not only your whole life, but more importantly, your sex life.
I think this is one of the best kept secrets ever when it comes to becoming a master lover. Your chakras are a literal map for your hands. They are erogenous zones front and back, and they also store what gets us all blocked up when it comes to having free-flowing orgasmic pleasure. So look, it's very important that in this moment right now, you tune in very closely. You get turned on, baby, because it's going to feel so good. And I hope that you will join us in falling in love with your chakras.
Welcome to the Sex Reimagined Podcast, where sex is shame-free and pleasure-forward. Let's get into the show.
All right. So you say chakra, I say chakra. What is right and what is wrong? Neither, really.
Neither. And if you're really good at twirling your tongue, you could sound super fancy in your way that you pronounce your Sanskrit language, which
the chakra.
I'm not good at that, so I won't even attempt it.
So let's start with what is a chakra. A chakra is a vortex of energy in your body. What I love, what's so cool about chakras is that they twirl in and they twirl out. If you can see me, go to our YouTube so you can see my hands. They twirl in and twirl out from the back and from the front, and then they meet each other in the middle. It's really cool how they work. And I think the word is Sanskrit. I know it's Sanskrit. I think it means wheel, like a vortex or a wheel of energy. And, some schools of thought say that we have 8 chakras. Some say we have 9. Some say we have like 109. There's all different schools of thought. You could even think about the meridian system as having little chakras all over it. So, we are like the earth, and the earth has these pools of energy, these high frequency fields. Sometimes it's a mountain range. If you've ever been to the Dolomites, oh my God, the mountain range is full of this vortex of energy. If you've ever been to the Pacific Ocean, there's a huge vortex of energy there. So we've got these pools and these vortexes of energy in our body as well. And these bigger ones, similar to the oceans and the mountain ranges, are the chakras in our bodies.
Yeah, my definition, I'll riff off of that, is that The chakras are these spinning circles of energy. It's 3-dimensional. They're not just these flat discs, but they've got a front and a back. And they are extensions of our brain they carry energy, they carry intelligence, they carry consciousness. And they're like these brilliant containers also. So it helps us with our nervous system regulation when we go through things that are stressful in our life. Each of these chakras, because they carry a psychological theme, store that which we cannot process to give us a little bit of space so that we can move through a crisis and get on the other side with the hope that when the dust settles, we can go back in and we can finish feeling that which we couldn't completely metabolize in the moment. So they have a psychological value. Then they also have this energetic value. So when they get aligned and they're connected to each other, it helps you move energy more seamlessly through your system, which is why it really connects to sexuality, because when you can run energy through all of your chakras and you've sort of purified the chakras so they're not holding a lot of the residue from the past, what that means is you can run a lot more pleasure safely and effectively throughout your whole system, which is so potent and powerful and pleasurable. The other thing that it can help you do when you have a good relationship to your chakras is it will help you move through emotional energy in the present time moment with more elegance and grace. What I mean by that is you don't have to stay triggered for as long because you can process your feelings in real time with greater skill. Now, from a more Eastern approach, less Western approach, the Western approach would be sort of the more psychological influence of studying your chakras. The Eastern approach would be more metaphysical, more esoteric. And what we do there is we visualize the chakras and their sacred geometry. We chant the sound, seed, syllable of each chakra. We build a relationship to the chakras. We meditate with the chakras. We do all of these things to get in touch with the chakras from a metaphysical standpoint, all with usually the same motivation, which is get me ahead on the God game, fuel my enlightenment, help me have transcendent experiences, both within the body and also beyond the body. So the chakras can be very significant from an energetic and a spiritual standpoint.
Wow.
So
I love that. You can think about them all as like, you can think about the whole system as like a map to getting yourself, I love that, closer to God, because and if you're not sure, like which chakra do I go to and how do I open it and what's the deal, then you might look to your life and be like, well, what's going on in my life? Okay, I'm feeling really shitty in my job. I'm feeling like my boss is overpowering me. I'm feeling disempowered. Okay, then we have some information. I'm not able to speak up or speak my truth in my relationship. Okay, that's good information too. So you can look at your life and see, like, where are you feeling stuck? Where are you feeling like you can't have ease and flow? And that will guide you and direct you to which chakra to focus in on and where to really start to move not only sexual energy, but also vibration energy, sound and frequency. Qigong is my dear practice of moving energy through stuck chakras. In fact, I just got done teaching a Qigong class and it was so great because I went in there feeling very irritable just because I have too much on my plate and my cycle's coming soon. And so there you go. And after teaching Qigong for just, I think, half an hour I taught, and then I needled everyone. I felt so much better.
what a fun class.
Huh?
What a fun class.
I know, it was super fun. And so the other, it's like it doesn't have to take a long time. I mean, you can move energy through your chakras, as Leah was saying, that each one has a sound, each one has a symbol, each one has a color. So just making those sounds, visualizing those symbols and colors for 1 to 2 minutes can totally change your moment of feeling disempowered or like you can't speak up for yourself or whatever's going on.
Let's take a quick break.
Hey, it's your girls, Leah and Willow, and we're teaching something live on July 29th that we think you're going to love.
It's called the Erotic Polarity Masterclass, How Opposite Energies Create Delicious Desire.
Whether you're in a relationship that's lost its spark or you're dating and craving more charge, this is the class that explains exactly why polarity works and how to consciously bring it online.
We're talking about the 4 modes of erotic exchange: giving, receiving, taking, and allowing, and why most couples rarely play with all of them. We'll also talk about dominant and submissive dynamics without the mystery.
$33 gets you in, and $11 more gets you the recording to keep forever so that you can show it to the next person you're going to date and the next person you're going to date or your partner 5 years later because they might forget.
Not only that, but you'll get our cheat sheet on erotic polarity, so it's a very affordable thing to add to your purchase.
So join us July 29th at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Go to sexreimagined.com/events. We'll see you there.
Yeah, so we really want to spend this hour because honestly, Will and I could, sit here and teach for 10 days on the power of the chakras. But we want to zero in on how do the chakras influence your erotic and intimate life. And I've done actually a really big deep dive on this topic. I've got a masterclass on the erotic power of the chakras. If you want to check that out, it's a $55 class, and you'll get a whole ebook. It's super cool. Go to moreloveworks.com/the-erotic-of-chakras. And you can learn even more than what we could do for you in this episode. But I think we should probably start by talking about where the chakras are as a starting place. Because like Will mentioned, there's 7 of them.
There's 7 of them in the body, and each of those 7 chakras are related to each of your endocrine glands. So that's another thing, is balancing and opening of these chakras helps to balance and open your hormonal system, which has a lot to do with how you feel emotionally. Have you noticed? So, anyway, let's start at the root chakra. Root chakra is in the butte, in the anus. So it's that
cavity,
the root of who you are. It's like this place in your body where if you are having a tight ass, you might be feeling like, well, I'm just not safe in this world. I'm not feeling secure. I'm not feeling grounded. I'm not feeling relaxed in this human form or in my home space or my family space or whatever it is. So there's a lot of people walking around with a tight root chakra. The next one is the second chakra, which is up from there into your sexual center. Sexual center, whether you are living in a male body, female body, or a non-binary body, is your genitals. And some people will also say that second chakra is above the pubic bone, kind of in the same area as the Dantian in the Taoist system or the Hara and other systems. So it's, we recognize it through the lens of Tantra as being the actual genitals. And when we do sacred spot massage work inside the yoni, we get the chance to actually touch the second chakra. Same as in the male body, although it's up through the root chakra in that area. And then we move up into the solar plexus. The solar plexus is right where your rib cage comes together. So right where your diaphragm is. And this is the chakra that connects you to your power, to feeling like you are standing up straight. Your upright chi is happening. You feel confident. You feel like you've got your finger on the pulse of your life and you're moving in the right direction. So that's that power center, solar plexus. And then we move up from there to the heart chakra, the 4th chakra, which is at the center of the chest, heart chakra. I love Joe Dispenza's work. He has very cleverly renamed the chakras the energy centers so that it's not so woo-woo for people and it's more digestible for a greater mass of people. And he always will start, not always, but very often he will start his meditations in the heart chakra. And then energy will rise from there. So heart chakra is at the center of the chest. And we move up to the throat chakra, where, Vishuddha, the home of truth, that place where we get to speak our truth. I so often when I get to people's blockages and their protective places in their body where they hold tension, it's right at the throat, right between the heart and the voice. And so this avenue of expression where the truth of our heart wants to flow up and out easily, so often gets blocked because it's scary to speak our truth. It's a vulnerable thing to do, and we feel like we might get judged. So throat chakras do get blocked a lot. There's great ways to open them, especially with sexuality. And then we move up from the throat chakra to the third eye. That is the home of intuition, inner sight, being able to see with clarity. And then we move from there up to Sahasrara, the one in the crown. And what I love about the crown chakra, what's so cool about that is it's symbolized as a lotus flower that's upside down on your head. So all the petals are dripping their energy down through your brain and really igniting the rest of the chakras all the way down the stream. I always think about the chakras as like little elixirs, and one pours into the next, one pours into the next, one pours into the next. And so if one of them's out, if the throat chakra's out, like if the thyroid is off and the can't speak your truth and there's stuff going on, you just can't, speak up, then that energy from the crown chakra to the third eye will probably it will start to get blocked, and then it can't flow down to the rest of the chakras.
Yeah, what's interesting from again, more of an esoteric perspective is that each of the chakras has a form of sacred geometry. There's also petals associated with each of the chakras, and those petals signify the nadis, Nadis, and they're the energy meridians that are like veins that run through the system and carry energy. So each of the chakras has a certain number of petals. And then that crown chakra is the 1,000-petal lotus. It is like where your mind goes into the everything. It's that non-dual perspective. And I love the idea of the petals dripping and pouring into each other. It's one of the biggest aims is to get your chakras balanced and in connection with each other. So in our tradition, we really use touch as a way to buoy circuitry between each of the chakras. And this comes about in many ways. If you are a good partner, that part of your job in partnership is not only to arouse and delight your partner with your touch, but to comfort them, to hold them, to support them. So touch is such an interesting method with which we love. And we love in so many different emotional ways. Mm-hmm. So when a little kid or your partner, is feeling bummed out and discouraged and they're kind of aching, and maybe something's happened to a loved one, maybe there's in a fight with a friend or a boss or whatever the case may be, how might you use your hands to bring comfort to them? So I'd like to take a look at the chakras oftentimes when it comes to intimacy and partnership, and I'm listening to someone's story, right? Their story of woe. What's their story of woe right now? What are they processing? What are they trusting me with when they're sharing something that's heartfelt and means something to them? And maybe it's a story of distress. Maybe it's a memory of great delight. I don't know. But I'm listening in a different way when I'm using my chakras to attune to what the story means to them, because there will be themes in the story. If they just got reamed out by their boss who did it in front of their colleagues, they're feeling humiliated. They're feeling angry. They're feeling outrage. They're feeling maybe hopelessness. They're feeling so disempowered. There's a way with which I know and then in the middle of it, they couldn't stand up for themselves. So when you know the psychology of the chakras, then you know where you can put your hands. So I know right away by listening to that story about their boss that their power center feels collapsed. So I may bring my hand to the back of their back and offer them support. I can feel like how crushed they are, like the outrage that they probably feel in their heart. Like their heart is feeling so closed down right then. I might put my other hand on the front of their heart. Then I might move my hand to the back of their neck because I know that they lost their ability to stand up for themselves and speak up, right? It's like they felt so shut down verbally that they kind of shrunk in on themselves. So that gives me a clue right there. Those 3 chakras, I can understand that they're going to need a little extra support. And those would be smart places for me to just be bringing a sense of consciousness in the way that I want to support them. So that's one way that I can hear a story and know how to touch. And that offers them emotional healing in addition to support. And when we're in relationship, whether we like it or not, it's also our job sometimes to be their emotional healer. And so from a tantric place, that's something that we take great pride in. We want to be that for our lover. We want to be their safe place. And so now if we were to take a look at this from a lover perspective and from an arousal perspective, we can help our partner experience more pleasure and move pleasure from different places. I mean, I think a lot of people would think, oh, second chakra, area of the genitals, ding, ding, ding. Oh, relationship, the heart, ding, ding, ding. Like those must be the 2 most important chakras to sexual intimacy. I
But
have
more
another,
so.
yeah, but I want you, Willow, first to go, what would you add to the sexual realm when it comes to the chakras?
Well, first, I just want to say I will never forget when I first started like seeing the chakras as they were opening, like the yantras, the sacred geometry shapes. When those images started flashing through my mind as those chakras were coming more and more online in my system. That is a fucking cool psychedelic experience and totally available to everyone. You don't have to take anything to feel that. All the medicine you need is in your body. But like, I would say the voice, the throat chakra is one of the most crucial ones for sexual energy and for opening up. Also, because it's where so many of us get blocked, right? Yes, of course, the heart, of course, second chakra, the genitals, but like the throat is one of those really underutilized, very underutilized chakras in sexuality because everyone's afraid to make sound. Like, I don't want to sound like a porn star and I don't want the neighbors to hear and I don't want the kids to hear and we don't want anyone to know we're having sex. That would be terrible, And so what Source Tantra really has echoed out into the tantric universe is like sound, sound, sound. And I came into Source Tantra with Leah and Charles as my teachers when I was teaching Taoist sexology, whereby we really bring the sound in. So not a lot of outward sounding, but a lot of like inward breathing and inward sounding just to bring all of that frequency and vibration in. So both are really valuable, but it's just about where you're placing your consciousness and your energy. And I have learned through the sounding and the opening of the throat chakra, like how much more expansive and how much more profound I can make my arousal chi field expand. So that is one of those chakras that I think we need to use more of inside of sexuality. And the other one that gets so deeply underutilized is the root chakra, baby, because nobody wants to touch the asshole. That's where poop comes out. It's dirty, but actually there's so much fucking pleasure up your ass. You have no idea until you go there. And so, there is something too about, the profundity of like opening up the root to rise the energy all the way up through the voice and all the way up through. Then, your third eye and crown chakra are just going to be through the roof.
I think I echo everything you said about the throat chakra. I think of the throat chakra as the great magnifier for all the lower chakras. It is what is going to take that feeling that is so sexy in your genitals and get it up your body so the rest of your body can feel and dip into the pleasure bath too. So when you start to feel, when you practice making the sounds that feel good, that are happening in your body, it amplifies, it's the intensity meter. And you got to practice it enough so it doesn't feel contrived and it feels natural and it feels more of like an authentic expression. So just moaning a little bit more, groaning a little bit more, sighing audibly a little bit more, not being afraid at that point of climax to say, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, or that feels so good, or don't stop, or don't stop. Like anything that can get a little bit more sound activated is so powerful. And it's the number one key, you guys. It's like the number one thing you have to do. You have to get better at sounding. And when you free up sexual expression, and I'm not telling you got to be loud or you got to sound crazy or you got to scream and scare the children. Like, please don't do that. Grab a pillow, muffle it, do what you got to do, but allow your vocal cords to create the resonance, because that has pitch and frequency, and that carries your sexual energy further. And it also helps unblock where your sexual energy may be a little constricted. It'll unblock that constriction. It'll free it all up. And your orgasms will be so much longer. They'll be so much more intense.
Later, more delightful.
Yeah. And like, think about it.
Over your body, not just in your genitals.
Doesn't it feel good when you hear a partner moan and groan? Like, doesn't it get things going in the right direction? Doesn't it make you feel good? Like, yeah, okay, I'm on the right track with how I'm loving this person, how I'm fucking them. Like, it feels good when someone is vocal, not when someone is performative.
No.
So we're not suggesting go be performative. Like, that's not enjoyable for anyone. So we don't want you to get that part twisted. But we do want you to make some more courageous steps in the general direction of vocalization. And here's another reason why. It's called your vagus nerve. And your vagus nerves helps carry another type of orgasm, a literal orgasm, up to your brain. It's the only nerve pathway that runs through the genitals, up the front of the body to the brain. And that nerve pathway passes through the heart and passes through the throat. It's through the throat that it enters the brain, which is why it's so powerful to exercise your vocal cords, to get that vagus nerve online. When people are paraplegics, meaning they have spinal damage that prevents them from being able to walk, they're still able to have orgasms because of the vagus nerve, because the wiring that goes from the front of the body isn't damaged, only the wires in the spine. All these things make sense when you start turning on your ability to make sound. So to me, the throat chakra is the most important chakra when it comes to sex.
Yeah, I would agree. And the other thing too about the vagus nerve is, when we're looking at the meridian map in the body, there's a yang meridian, which runs up your spine, and there's a yin meridian, which runs down through the front midline of your body. So the yin meridian runs along the vagus nerve, and yin is all about receptivity. So we also call the yin meridian the receptive vessel. So if there's something you want to receive more of in your life, like more sense of empowerment at work and being able to speak up to your lover, your partner, then that is like opening up that vagus nerve, opening up that yin receptive vessel pathway with sound is definitely going to work. It works every time. We've been doing this for decades. It's never not worked. So give it a whirl.
Yeah, that's the power of the throat. Now, the genitals, of course, the second chakra, it's where it's where the highest count of nerve endings are for your sexual arousal. And it's a chakra that's quite potent and powerful. It can hold a lot of shame. Our issues with rejection often get stored in the genitals. When we're told that our desire is too much, our sexual energy is too much, we're too much, our needs are too much, our wants are too much, that feeling of too much is often stored in the genital area. And then there's feelings of inadequacy. Like there's something wrong with our libido. We are broken. The stories that we hold around inadequacy and not being enough can get stored in the genitals. A lot of things having to do with the opposite sex, but also the same sex. I think for some women, what can get stored there is our experiences with painful gynecological experiences,
or falling on the bike when you were a little girl. Remember that? Getting your
bar,
smashed with the fucking bike bar. That sucks.
Or being kicked in the nuts,
Are we being nuts? Oh God, so painful. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of shoulding going on in the second chakra. Like we should look a certain way, we should sound a certain way, we should move a certain way
Mhm.
inside of sexuality.
We should be wetter, or we should be harder.
Yes, we're shoulding all over ourselves. And if you think about that word should, it implies shame. It implies that you are not what you are, that you should be something other than what you are. So therefore you are not, okay. And so that's the other thing that really gets lodged down in that second chakra, shame. I mean, it can be found in any chakra, but boy, do we find it there quite a lot. And not just personal shame, but systemic cultural shame. If you haven't cleared the systemic cultural shame from your own second chakra, I invite you to do so. Help the whole world out.
I think even more so familial shame, the shame that gets passed down from generation to generation about what your genitals are, how dangerous they are, how seductive they are, and like all the things that says
how bad
that makes us feel wrong. Yeah. But they're also a playground. And so you want to be really skilled at playing the instrument of the second chakra. So you want to learn how to be a great stroker if you love penises. You want to learn how to diddle a sweet yoni if you love yonis. The way that you touch with skill the genitals is a worthy thing to study and be curious about, and to be not just proficient, but to see it as an art form. And if you're listening to this podcast, you are probably interested on how to be a better lover. You recognize that we're not just born knowing. Yes, we all have a biological imperative that helps us just figure it out. But there's a difference between treating sex as a biological imperative and treating sex as an art form that you want to master, that you want to experience poetry through, so to speak, or that you just want to get down and dirty with, because there's lots of ways that we can play with the second chakra that makes it hum with ecstasy. So learning the skills. And I think too, one of the things I think is really unique and why I wanted to bring up the second chakra next is because it's one of the only chakras you can touch the center of. You can go inside the genitals of a yoni owner and you can touch the center of that second chakra, which is really profound. And I think that's why when a lot of vulva owners receive sacred spot massage or G-spot massage, it's why there is such an emotional phenomenon when that chakra starts to unwind and you start to really feel like the center of its energy. It's really quite rich. It can be very tender, very emotional. And then it leads you to really transcendent experiences of pleasure. And those things all are able to flower, again, I think, with presence and skill and whatnot. Yeah, and although you can't do that with a man's penis, we can all go into another chakra, which Willow alluded to earlier, which is the root.
Before we go into the root, the Sanskrit word for the second chakra is svadhisthana, which means the home of the true self. And if you've listened to our podcast, you've definitely heard me say the word in Taoism for sexuality is jing, and the word for essence is jing. So when we look to the Ayurvedic tradition, where we're looking at this word svadhisthana in your sexual center, the home of the true self, we're looking at from two different lenses, like the reality that when you know your own sexual energy at a very deep level, you know your essence at a very deep level. And it's impossible to be inauthentic when you know your essence at the level that we feel so privileged to know, but we've done work to get there. And you're all invited, you all get to learn about your truest, deepest, most authentic essence through your sexuality. It's a lot of fun. It's an incredible journey. And what happens along the way is you let go of the masks and the constructs that your parents put on you, your grandparents put on you, society put on you, your teachers put on you, all the layers that you are holding so tightly onto because somebody told you should.
And I want to say, when I say skill, I'm not talking about technique. Technique is very helpful, But to get to the honey of what Willow is saying when it comes to essence, getting connected to that true essence, the true self of yourself, that has to do with the skill of presence, the skill of being open, curious, and vulnerable, and taking the time to be in inquiry while you hold this part of your body, to really go, who am I? And to feel the suppleness, the deliciousness, the hills, the valleys, the warm spots, the cold spots, the wet spots, the dry spots, the ridges, the hair, like all the inner petals, all the inner things. That is you, the shape and the texture of your genitals. Like, it's really about presence more than anything. It's learning how to be with yourself. It's less about doing. Techniques has its place. But when it comes down to like finding essence, it's actually not that hard.
It's just about attuning. It's just about paying attention, listening, slowing down. When you find those moments of like, fuck, I've been acting that way my whole life. Like, why am I doing that? Then you pause and you sit with that until it clears. And then you be in practice of not being that way or doing that thing anymore. That's how you break down your patterns, and you get to be you in the world. And what we need in the world is more of you. Okay.
And there's also taking that inquiry, finding a way to like land it and like integrate it. So it's not just staying at the genitals in order to find the true self. It's like you go in and you hold yourself like this is maybe a starting point, but then you have your other hand. And this is what we mean by building circuitry, is you may be touching your genitals with great curiosity and depth of presence and going, wow, this is to marvel at. Now let me bring my hand to another chakra, maybe my heart. And now let me bridge those two worlds so that so that my heart is connected to my pussy, so that my heart is connected to my cock. They're not separate things. They're united. And they know how to communicate, and that gets stronger and stronger. And not only is my heart connected to my genitals and my second chakra, now my second chakra is connected to my heart. And so who I am as a heart-centered person is connected to passion. So
and my throat's open, so I can express it all with ease through my voice.
Yeah. And so then you might move that other hand to your throat, or you might move that other hand to your third eye while you're touching your genitals to build the circuitry.
It's all about circuitry with the chakras, with everything in the body, because we are electrical beings walking around with this electricity in our body. And it's so fun to play with on your own and with others. Let's drop down to the root.
Yeah. So there's another chakra you can touch the inside of. Again, it's like so special that you can go and touch the center of your root chakra. And some people, the idea of anyone touching their anus feels really uncomfortable. And maybe even hearing us talk about it makes them feel uncomfortable. That was true for me a long time ago. It made me very squirmy, the idea of anal play. I didn't quite get it. I wasn't even sure that it was a real thing. I was very skeptical. And I didn't realize just my aversion was so strong, so repulsed. It took me a minute of sitting with that and go, wow, I sure am reacting strongly to this conversation right now.
That's
really interesting.
Right there. So if you're sitting here listening and you're like,
I'm like, why isn't everyone else reacting with such rage? I am outraged right now, and I don't even know fucking why. And why is it that anytime anyone tried to touch my ass in the past, I was also quite rageful and couldn't believe that they were even trying, and what were they thinking? You know, like just and to go, well, no one else is reacting this way. Am I overreacting? I must be overreacting. And that led to a really incredible journey of trying to understand and then finding out as to why I did have that reaction. And to be able to sit with that and get those answers was probably one of the most powerful things I ever did for myself in my life. Brought me new levels of wholeness, taught me how to build my tolerance to that discomfort, how to approach this part of my chakra body slowly, to recognize that this is a chakra that's just as holy as all the higher chakras, like the heart and the third eye, and deserved my conscious loving awareness and touch and presence. And then from that place, learning how to trust trustworthy people that I cared about in an intimate way to touch me there slowly and gently. And then eventually to open up that part of the pleasure palace and to discover that there are immense, powerful doorways into pleasure that only exist there, that don't feel like any other pleasure center in the body. Because, and then I later found out that there's a nerve pathway called the hypogastric nerve that runs a very specific type of orgasm from the anal cavity up to the brain. And it is different than your ejaculatory orgasm, and it is different than your clitoral orgasm. And for many of us, it's an orgasm that is very hard won. It takes a lot of courage and surrender and softening to allow one's body to awaken to it, because, you know, for many of us, it feels shrouded in darkness. We're scared that it's dirty. We're scared about someone's reaction to it, and we're scared of our own reaction to it. When you can kind of gently hold those fears without being really tight about it, something happens, and it's really rewarding. It's really powerful. And like I said, spiritualizing it became a huge breakthrough for me. It was just life-changing.
You had such a journey with your asshole, your chakra, your root chakra.
Was your root chakra an easy thing to breach?
Easier for me than
easier for you. God bless. When I hear people who are just like pain-free when it comes to anal sex, I'm like, wow.
Well, I'm not pain-free when it comes to anal sex.
Well, no, but I've got a client right now who's just never had an orgasm there, but it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, really? It must be amazing. Sometimes it doesn't hurt for me, but most of my experiences have been,
got to be done well. You know, anal sex really has to be done skillfully and well. You do need skill. You do need education. You don't just want to go ramming things up your ass. It doesn't feel good.
But there's many people who it's never been painful. It's just not an owie place.
It's amazing.
I just have to say,
different.
I'll take that next life. Thank you very much. Fearless.
Well, one of my all-time favorite things in Tantra world is delivering an assgasm to a man for the first time. Like the most phenomenal orgasm he's ever had, especially like an Amrita assgasm. Holy. You can totally change someone's life with that shit.
Now, some people may not know what you're talking about right there.
Okay, so there's this thing called Amrita, which, you know, if you don't speak the tantric Sanskrit language, then it's just when a woman squirts, it's the fluid that comes out of her urethral sponge. And men,
it translates in Sanskrit to divine nectar.
That's right. It's divine. It's really, really powerful when Amrita comes, because it's a deep cleansing of all of your chakras, particularly your sexual ones. And men sometimes have this warm, clear, totally smell-free fluid that comes out of their ass when they have an assgasm. I believe it's
when they have Amrita from prostate massage.
Yeah, it's coming from the prostate, and it's this divine nectar, and it flows, and it's just like it's not a lot, it's not a big mess, you know. For some men it is. It's kind of mysterious, not a big mess, but it can be copious amounts, just like it can be copious amounts for women. We don't know a lot about it. It hasn't really been studied. Amrita's been studied more. That's vaginal female ejaculation. So it's kind of an interesting phenomenon. It is an interesting phenomenon. Yeah. Sometimes there is a lot that comes, but it never feels like, oh my God, it never feels gross. Is what I want to say. No, it's not a gross thing at all. It's actually an ecstatic. Really, it's an ecstatic thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, I've heard through some of my Taoist realms, I don't remember where I heard or what I, read or whatever, but it was like the ass is the seat of the soul. So there's this, idea that like when we have an open, happy asshole, like life flows to us, our soul purpose flows to us with so much more ease and so much more grace. And then I have a friend too who's really into, um, you know, all kinds of things. But what he's really noticing, sort of anecdotally, with his clientele and the people that he's working with, is those who have a happy ass have a very different relationship to wealth and finances, which makes so much sense because when we look at Muladhara, this root, of the body, this home of the soul, we're looking at like our worth and our sense of value of
And
ourselves.
security issues.
Security and all of
So
what
money,
to us.
death, certainty, death of a chapter in your life, death of a loved one, all those financial issues, fear, it just gets so wound up tight there. Yeah.
There it is. So it's good to keep your ass open so that you don't get too tight around all of those things because things happen. Death happens.
Uptight has a home. There's a reason why we call people a tight ass. And that's oftentimes because we're gripping because we don't feel like we've got control somewhere in our life. And so when we're feeling out of control emotionally or in some sector of our life and system, we grip. And the first place we're going to grip is we're going to grip our ass cheeks. And as if to give us some sort of feeling of certainty that we can hold on to something. And that gripping actually doesn't help us in that realm. Letting go, finding trust, getting grounded. I mean, there's a reason why most meditations start out with a grounding prompt because that ground is your foundation. And it's another circuit that you can build between your body and the earth. Because as Willow often says, and I always love this, she often says, we're not just of the earth, we are earthlings. And so when we have a relationship to the earth, and that starts at the foundation chakra, chakra 1, then our whole system is stacked in better alignment. What happens to the house when the foundation is off? The whole house is off. Right. So getting your chakras stacked in balance right from the beginning of that foundation chakra is a way that you will live in more harmony with your alignment. And when you're in alignment, things just flow.
Yeah. I did a new root chakra practice the other day. I was like, wow, a new root chakra practice that I've never done before. It was super fun. It was a Kundalini yoga class. And it was like, we're sitting, however we were sitting cross-legged or however we were. And then we were just bouncing, like lifting our hips and then bouncing our booty on the ground. Just like, don't. For a long time, repetitive Kundalini yoga is all about repetition. And it was so cool to like massage your root chakra in that way, like with the earth, connecting. I mean, I had quite a delightful experience.
Nice. I love that. I bet especially if you had a prostate gland, you could jiggle that up a little bit and that would feel quite good. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. All right. So that's foundation. That's second. We touched a little bit on the power center. That would be the solar plexus or the navel. And that has to do with the right use of power, the wrong use of power, feeling empowered, feeling disempowered, our experiences of feeling humiliated, our experiences of feeling confident and getting that gut feeling. That gut feeling can really guide you and gives us a sense of premonition. The heart is pretty self-explanatory, right? We all know the matters of the heart, but I think what gets maybe less talked about is that the heart can also be a storehouse for pain and grief and unrequited everything. I often think of the heart as a castle with thousands of rooms, and in each room holds a person, place, and experience. And the things to pay attention to are the people that occupy the biggest rooms in the house. And they may be people you don't even want there, but guess what? They're there. And if you visit those rooms, you're going to encounter a part of yourself. And that part of yourself probably needs some attention. So I think going into the heart and doing some urban renewal every once in a while in that castle is a wise thing to do so that you can remain, to the best of your ability, living your life, walking down the street, doing your shopping, doing your hobbies, cleaning the bathroom, living from an open heart. You know, a lot of people are living with a very closed heart. They think because they've walled their heart off that it protects them from being hurt. But in truth, it keeps them in a prison. And so for us to start to figure out ways, how can I walk this earth with an open heart? How can I live that way and still be responsible for my heart? And that is a beautiful endeavor. And it's one that I take really seriously.
It's a prayer. You know, when you're walking around with an open heart, you're offering to the whole universe a prayer, and you're also giving everyone around you permission to do the same thing. You're giving an example of what it looks like to choose love instead of fear in every instance, in every circumstance, because really, like, at the root of all emotions, whether we're having an emotion of fear or anger or rage or doubt or insecurity or love or joy or happiness, if we have any emotion, that means we have some room in our heart. We have some sense of care about it. So love and caring is really at the root of all of our emotions, including that emotion of fear. So when you do meet your fears in your heart, fear of opening your heart to another person, fear of opening your heart to that possibility in life, you know, when you meet those fears in your heart, just see that it's one side of the coin, flip it over, on the other side is love. It means you care about that thing. And if you care about something, then it's in you to have it. If you love something, then it's in you to receive it. So you can open up that receptivity channel again and receive right through the vagus nerve, right through the heart, and sounding into the heart. Having heartgasms is a blissful way to live.
You had a course there for a while, Breaking Your Heart Wide Open. Was that what it was called?
Yeah, Break Your Heart Wide Open, because I was noticing, I was looking around, it's like, wow, a lot of people are going through heartbreak and then just getting stuck in a jaded place around that heartbreak. And so, you know, it's the going into the pain, it's going into the heartbreak, which I have done, Leah as my witness, you know, going into it and breaking through the places that want to hold on to the pain and the righteousness and the you did this and you weren't that and you said and then you blah, 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 all the story, right? It's like, well, yeah, you can hang on to that your whole life, and some people do. Or you can break your heart wide open, go deep into the center of it, feel it, heal it, move it along. And then on the other side, you're going to find so much freedom and such a level of love that like transcends all the story and all the bullshit.
I love it. You got to feel it to heal it, honey. That's so good. That's so beautiful. We spoke already quite a bit about the throat. You know, the third eye is really about insight and learning how to balance the left and the right hemispheres of the brain, knowing how to wrestle that brain into a state of calm, learning about self-regulation, co-regulation, all those things, how to bring an erotic mind to the bedroom. So you know what to do when you're in your head, how to flip that switch so it turns you on instead of turning you off. Your third eye can be a really beautiful partner in your erotic life. And again, it's one of those things where you need a few skill sets. You need to learn how to meditate. You need to learn how to breathe. You know, you need to have a good imagination. You need to give yourself permission to feel and be in the erotic landscape of those corners of your brain. And there may be places you judge about that. And can you set down those judgments and find something else more interesting about those corners? All really rich inquiry.
Get curious with your mind, and also, you know, the glands up here in the third eye are the hypothalamus and the pituitary glands, which basically are the master glands of your entire endocrine system, all of your hormones.
Pineal glands up there too, right?
Yeah, more toward the crown chakra. But yeah, pineal gland is the seat of intuition and the seat of like higher consciousness and connecting you to higher knowing. So when you are opening these glands in the brain through third eye and crown chakra, you're actually coming more closer and more online with your deeper intuition and with more emotional freedom.
Yeah. So that leads us to the crown chakra. And the crown chakra is so powerful. It brings us to that place where we trust there's something bigger than ourselves because we can feel it. It's where we can take an experience so profound that it lives inside of us, but it also lives outside of us. It's like, it's where we drop the either or and we become the and we're a part of the everything. You know, we're not only a part of the everything, but we're also a part of the void where there's nothing. You know, it's like there's so many paradoxical experiences there in the crown chakra. It feels very spacious, very universal, very cosmic, very psychedelic. And in the shadow realm of it, we can have things that are very distorted, lots of illusion, a lot of deep psychosis in terms of really mental health distortions can often be found in the crown chakra. So gaining clarity and finding a thing that is bigger than you, that makes you feel like you belong, not just in your body, but in the cosmos too. It's for those, it goes beyond insight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well said.
Yeah.
Well said. So enjoy the map of your chakras. Enjoy the journey. Have fun with it. It's a playground. It's a playing field. There's no
Touch them and love them up.
Yep. Just enjoy and see what happens. Just be with them and see how you unfold and how the map of your life unfolds and the possibility of you and your potential starts to open up in so many ways.
And if you ever want to go deeper and be able to see and have experiences like of your chakras and how that works in the erotic space, how that works in the tantric space, come to our live events, because we will teach you what it means to touch chakras consciously, how to activate them, how to clear them, and then how to arouse them so that they're a full part, a natural, organic, authentic expression of how to run orgasmic bliss through your system, because they're just amazing.
Mm-hmm. God bless the chakras.
Tell us your stories of your chakras in the comments. Share this episode with another sexual adventurer in your life, and we'll see you on the flip side.
Ciao, ciao.
Thanks for tuning in. This episode was hosted by Tantric Sex Master Coach and Positive Psychology Facilitator Leah Piper, as well as by Chinese and Functional Medicine Doctor and Taoist Sexology Teacher Dr. Willow Brown. Don't forget, your comments, likes, subscribes, and suggestions matter. Let's realize this new world together.
If the physical connection in your relationship has started to feel routine, I want you to know that's not a chemistry problem. It's a skills problem, and skills can be learned. I created a 90-minute on-demand masterclass called The Art of Sensual Touch, where you will learn the actual language of pleasure, the 5 modalities of touch, how to build anticipation that absolutely drives your partner wild, how to read their body in real time, and the advanced principles that make you the kind of lover people simply don't forget. Touch is everything. In fact, your skin is the biggest sex organ of the body. And now you can take this masterclass, watch it on your own schedule, come back to it whenever you want, and put it to use the very same night. Instant access for only $55, and it includes the More Love Touch cheat sheet to keep as your permanent reference guide. So don't delay. Go to moreloveworks.com/courses to start tonight.